Hello, my friend, and welcome to Secure Insecure, hosted by me, Johnny Seifert. This is the Celebrity Mental Health podcast. I say it's okay to not be okay. And if you have the same match to me, whether you're watching on YouTube or wherever you're listening, click that 5-star rating, leave a review, and click that subscribe button. And let's keep spreading the word. It's okay to not be okay. And let me tell you about my guest today. Now, as you know, here on Secure the Insecure, I'm the biggest Love Island fan. There's over 100 Love Islanders in the library for you to check out right now. And what they do is they tell their mental health journey before Love Island, because we've seen them go on the show. But I don't care about the salacious gossip on the show. I don't care who's vaping. I don't care who you think about that person or that person. What I care about is for you in this episode to understand your favourite Love Islanders and the journey they have been on to get to where they are today. And today, I'm delighted that starting the 2024 season of Love Island on Secure Insecure, it's a commercial insurance broker who loves a game of chess. He was part of the 2024 lineup lasting 12 days, coupled up with Ellie. So without further ado, I'm delighted to welcome to Secure Insecure. It's Trey Norman. Hello, my friend.
Johnny, it's an absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's an honour that you're the first Love Islander that actually went, yeah, come on, I'll do it for this year. So you've set the
Let's
bar
do
for
it.
2024. How are you feeling? Because obviously you were over there, you've come back, you've had a week to kind of get back into this weird, quote normal. What is normal for you now?
What is normal? It's a tough question to ask. I'm currently feeling very overwhelmed. I'm very excited. I'm elated. I'm happy with how I've been perceived and how I've been shown and my experience on there, which ultimately I've lived the dream. But coming back home, it has been challenging. My DMs are blown up. Life is a lot different to what I'm used to. So yeah, it's good to get on this podcast and to share that journey with you. And sort of maybe if it helps 1% of people, then I think it's definitely worth doing.
Oh, I'm so pleased. Well, look, we're going to go through your journey and work out who you are, why you are, and then we'll get obviously up to present day. So let's
Yeah.
go back all the way to the beginning. Talk to me about little Trey. You went to Ridgewood School and then the Academy of Ridgewood, which, you know, same area, same system, and yet a very different trade between when you entered that system at 4 and when you left at 18. What was that journey like in school for you?
Yeah, my school life was actually, it was really good, but it was a mixture of things. I had to put up with bullying. I was never naturally clever at school. I was more interested in playing the Xbox from a young boy. I used to go up to the woods with an axe and bricks in my bag because I was just interested in building dens and doing things like that with my friends. So from a natural age of about 4, 5, 6 to maybe 10, I was just going out, playing football, having fun, and not really taking an interest into learning and acquiring knowledge. I was quite a popular boy at school. I got the girls, I had fun, I was in the football team, so to speak. It was cushy. My mum and dad were quite liberal parents, but people always used to say to me, "Oh, yeah, you're good looking, train this and that, but you're thick, or you're not smart, or they diss me in some way." And I always used to struggle with that as a young boy because naturally at heart I'm a winner and I love to win at all costs. And that was one thing where I came in. I remember crying my eyes out one day when I was about 12 or 11, so just going on to year seven actually. My dad said to me, "Son, you're not born with knowledge, you acquire it." And from there on, I set on Trey's little pilgrimage, which was going off into the school system and increasing, getting by in the sets, going up the levels, going from set 5 to set 4 to set 3, and eventually maxing out there when I got all my GCSEs. And as from there, I built on my education. I knuckled down, got into sixth form, got my A levels, got an A in A level economics, went on to university, and from there on, I got my masters, and it was quite a journey. But someone who always struggled with learning massively, so that was a big part of my journey at school.
So how did you balance out that popularity, that social trait, as you're getting older and you're really finding out who you are and exploring girls and exploring your own identity? And yet the education side comes in and then you're having to revise. And then Saturday nights aren't about going to the recce with a little couple of tins. It's I've got to have my head down and be revising now. And therefore the trade that everyone fancies, yeah, he's the good looking guy still, but also he's this guy who, is kind of almost closed off because he's putting his books before the girls.
It was tough to manage. I mean, I'd say that was the biggest challenge in my sort of university days. When I was there, I was the football president. I was mixing studying with pleasure in a way. Going out partying, running nightclub events, and it is hard. It is difficult. You need to have an equilibrium, a balance. That is so important in life. And my perception did change even when I went from school to university, where I was known for being a bit of a popular boy, a geek, a boffin, and gradually, because I sort of got my education that I really wanted and that the respect that I always desired, it was more of a personal ambition for me. it then grew me in confidence, and I sort of then found the key to, being able to be the Jack the lad, and being the sort of buff that I've always wanted to be, and sort of chase the dreams that I desire.
But when you think about popularity, and especially popularity at school, it's always the idea that you peak. So if you peak at school, it's a lot harder after school to then have that purpose, because in school, everyone knows who you are, right? All the
Yeah.
boys want to be you, all the girls want to be with you. And then you finish school, and at age 18, you go out to the big wide world, and you move from Doncaster to Birmingham, because like me, we went to Birmingham City
Yeah.
University, and therefore you've got to start again. How did you mentally find that change of going, I'm not the guy from Ridgewood anymore, I'm just Trey from Donny, who's now in Birmingham?
I'd say that's one of the most beautiful things about university. It's a great leveler, and it's a fresh start for a lot of people. It's a new area. It's massive changes, new shops, new friends, new places where you're living, and where you're socializing. And it was certainly a big change for me, but it was one that I really wanted, because my school life as well was tainted by a lot of bullying, because my sister was a Page 3 magazine model at the time as
Oh
well.
shit.
She was an ex-glamour model. So at school, you'd always get the odd fella giving it that, giving it this, and I'd always be defending myself. And naturally, when you're that young, you're sort of a bit more reactive and responsive, rather than sort of being calculated with your emotions. So, yeah, when I did go to university, going back to the question, it was a big change, but it was one I was excited for, because without having big changes as such, you're not going to grow as a person. So I knew it was an opportunity for growth. And I knew that I was going there to achieve something which I've always wanted to do, which was to get a degree, to prove people wrong, and to earn myself that respect as well as the others. So yeah.
And do you think you did get that? So at the end of university, it's 2021, 3 years ago, you finished university, you look back at those first 21 years of your life, Trey. How do you
Yeah.
look at the respect that you gave yourself? Not what everyone else thought about you, but what you thought of yourself. Were you proud of the journey you'd been on and how you got to that level?
Looking back, it's even on my wall. All my accolades, all my achievements, my certificates, they're all above my wall where I sleep on a night, in my mum and dad's house. And that's just when I wake up, it's a daily reminder to say, when you put your mind to something, Trey, you can go in there and you can achieve it. So that was always it was a massive personal ambition, something that you really struggled with. I was poor at school. I didn't get it. I was in, there's the special sets that would call it, where you need that extra support. You take time out of curricular activities to do that. And that's why it was such a big hurdle for me, because if you've gone from there to there and proved everybody wrong, including yourself, you've even proven to yourself what you're capable of doing. It gives you a newfound confidence of, wow, an ability to learn, an ability to acquire, an ability to move forward and overcome obstacles in your life. And that was probably the biggest thing that I took away from it. And it's something I'm very proud of, yeah.
And you mentioned your sister was a page 3 model. What was her stage
Mhm.
name?
I don't know. Her name's Jade Newby. That's my sister. So on social media, social handles Jade Newby. But um, no, I don't remember her stage name. It was just more topless modeling in Zoo magazines and things like that. Quite explicit, but she wanted to do it at the time, and it was a great thing. We all supported her as a family too.
I was going to say, how did you find it as a young deviant male, knowing that's your sister when you'd have been growing up looking at Nuts magazine and Zoo and Loaded and going, oh look at this girl and look at that girl. Oh my god, there's my sister. And also
Yeah,
going, I don't want my sister to overshadow me. With my friends, I
yeah,
want them to be friends with me for me, Trey, and not go, oh look, I'm going to Trey's house because I want to see Jade.
yeah. Yeah, it was never really like that in terms of my friends. Obviously, my friends, we would have banter about it, but she actually just had a relatively short career doing the Zoo magazine and the topless modeling side of things. And when I got to about 16, 17, 18, that was all done and dusted anyway. But yeah, I definitely had some difficult moments because of that. Nonetheless, as a family, we all supported her to do it. It was something she wanted to do. My sister's got the full package. She's good looking, she's gorgeous, she's an amazing mum. And at that time, she wasn't. She was just single, finding new careers in her life and taking the opportunities that came for her, and she did, and she seized it, and it were a great time in her life, and something that she really enjoyed, and something now that I'm really proud of that my sister's done, because it's not easy to do. And yeah, she deserves all the credit and respect in the world. Love her to bits.
Oh, amazing, amazing. Conversation. I want to talk to you, Trey, all about your tattoos. You've taken your top off for this. The first thing you've got is a clock and it's set at 250. I just wondered, what's the sentiment of that?
Yeah, so when I was about 15, 16, I just got into sixth form, and being the person that I am always wanting to be different. You know, I've always wanted to be first doing something. I'm motivated by the fear of being average, so to speak. And obviously, when you're that young, you're not meant to have a tattoo. And I think I looked at someone on the TV. And I thought, oh, that's cool. I want a tattoo now. And I said to my dad, who was very liberal, different to most parents for sure. And he said, I said, Dad, I want a tattoo. And he says, all right, son, if you want a tattoo, he said, I'll take you for one. And he took me up to a place up in Sheffield, my dad. And at the time, my dad knew this guy from years when he had a carpet shop. My dad's a businessman and he did own a carpet shop for a short time. And I said, he took me to this tattoo parlor anyway. And he turned up, he'd not seen the guy in years. I think his name was Pete or something. And we turned up and he said, Pete, well, you know, what's happened to your eye? You've got an eye patch on. He said, Dave, I've had cancer last year in one of my eyes. I can still tattoo though. So yeah, I've only got one eye now. And he was wearing this eye patch. And my dad looked at me and he said, you sure you want to have this tattoo? I said, absolutely. I'm having a tattoo, you know, trying to psych me out, reverse psychology, taking me there himself. And I just looked on the board, a bit of a random selection. I said, that looks nice, that rose and clock. And I just thought, I'll get it on my chest. It's always something that I wanted to have done. I didn't actually pick the time, but it does point towards my birthday, which is 11/3. So, you know, March 11th, which is quite iconic. I didn't ask for that. So that's the story of the first one, really. There's no meaning behind it apart from, you know, my parents were very liberal and let me do what I wanted when I was younger.
Well, look, let's find some meaning then, and your second one, which is lower down by your chest, and it's the Christian cross and what
Yeah.
religion means to you. So, when did you start looking at religion?
Well, it actually starts off from my first tattoo. Actually, that starts with the law of attraction and my faith in that, and how it sort of escalated to now a faith in God. So when I was at university, I had a great friend called Jake, and he was the top guy at university. This was in my first year, by the way, just to clarify. And he was an incredibly good-looking guy, in fantastic shape, getting the best grades, getting the women. You know, he had the full package, in my opinion, Jake. And I looked up to him as an older brother because I've never had an older brother. I've never had that sort of influence, but my dad was always playing that role anyway. But when you're away and you're at university, you need role models, and he was certainly one. And I came into the kitchen one day because I was actually staying with his brother Josh, and he said to me, he said, Trey, you're a bit down in dumps. What's happening with you? And you know, I wasn't getting the best grades. I'd just recently broken up with my girlfriend. Life wasn't going my way. And he said to me, Trey, what you need to do is go and watch The Secret. Just watch The Secret, and you'll understand everything. So I went and watched The Secret, and that sort of gave me an idea of how to use the law of attraction. And from there, I studied success. I studied characters of history. I studied parliamentarians. I studied actors. I studied musicians, and they always had a faith in God, or they believed in the law of attraction. And I thought that's really interesting. Let's see if I can resonate with that. And when I broke it down and looked at the science behind it, you ask yourself the question, what are we made out of? We're a molecular structure, aren't we? We all agree. We're made out of cells. Cells are made out of atoms. Atoms are made out of what? Subatomic particles. Subatomic particles are made out of protons, neutrons, electrons, positive charge, neutral charge, and a negative charge. So when you sort of realise that we're essentially intellectual bundles of energy in a molecular structure, a human form, a table, a fish, the sea, everything is made up of the same thing, which is atoms. I sort of come to grips with the law of attraction. I thought, right, I can use this methodology, this ethos, this understanding to control my mind, control my thoughts, and attract things that I want into a life, like a magnet, like a radio station. And then I looked into the theory of God, because, you know, people I looked up to, like Anthony Joshua, great boxers, a massive boxing fan, they always pay the dues and respect to God, Ryan Garcia being one as well. And I thought, this is an interesting concept. Let me delve into the theory of God, because I couldn't really understand. Now, I am a Christian, and I was christened when I was younger, but it's not been a big part of our family. But it is now for me in my life, and especially to where it's got me to. And I started looking into the theories of it. I started reading the Bible, looking into, you know, the fables, the stories, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus. I found stories interesting. You know, they had meaning, resemblance to my life and certain parts of my life. And then there was two theories that I looked onto on Google, because I thought, I struggle to believe there's a big man in the sky looking down, but there must be another theory, another way for me to understand and have my own connection. So there's one theory called the anthropomorphic theory, which is believing in a human type person in the sky, so to speak. And that's what they call the anthropomorphic. Or there's the more spiritual omnipresence God type feeling. And I really resonated with that because I do believe in the spirit world. And that goes back to, again, building my faith in God and my interest in the Bible and faith. I'm into scary films. So, like The Conjuring and stuff like that. And I do actually believe that these are based on true stories. I believe in the spirit world. And so if there's evil, there's always an equal and opposite reaction. As Isaac Newton's third law states, for every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. And so from there, I sort of came to the conclusion that if there's evil and there's bad in the world, there's good and there's God. There's the yin, there's the yang. That's where I sort of came to the conclusion of my faith. And I'd had some real tough moments, especially before Love Island, where I looked up, I prayed, I sent prayers. I'm quite a faithful man now in that respect. And I've sort of just got my own connection and it's really helped me. And I'm on my own journey. It's not a full correct one. I don't go to church every Sunday, but I'm on this new journey now. It's quite embryonic, as we would all say, but it's giving me a lot of comfort and a lot of peace in my life, and it's really helping me to get to where I want to get to and stay on that positive treadmill. I don't think there's anything that's bad that can come from faith. I think it's a beautiful thing, especially in a world of chaos that we live in.
Absolutely. Do you want to put your top back on? So talk to me about those vulnerable times where you felt that little bit of vulnerability pre-Love Island that you were touching on just now, of where you had to seek God's guidance or seek the Spirit's guidance.
Yeah, definitely. I just think this was a time for me where, I was working a 9 to 5 job. I was going through the motions. I've always been an incredibly driven guy that's always wanted more out of life. And it was a feeling of probably not being happy with myself and where I was at, comparing myself to my friends. I always use the metaphor of, the tortoise in the air. I'll eventually get there, but everyone was that they had more money than me, they had better cars than me, they were further on in their careers. So at this time, before, this is a couple of months ago, before Love Island, in fact, I was just having that feeling of, what's the best way to put it? Probably not feeling so proud of myself. I had achieved so much with my education, sorry, but I was wanting more, and I feel a feeling of I can be doing more. So it was probably a period of stalemate for me. Achievement, 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 achievement. I reached the mountain. My Mount Everest was getting my education. That meant the world to me and my father and my mum. And so when I achieved that and I got into the real world working 9 to 5, I think I struggled to be like, is this it? Is this my life now? Is this really what I want to do? That's something that people often really struggle with in their 20s, is the sort of mundane, normal routine of life. It wasn't exciting for me. And so one particular night, I just sort of said, I laid on my bed, had a really bad day at work. I wasn't performing in the gym. And I just said, God, if you're there, can you just show me my true potential? And again, calling on that faith. Wasn't thinking anything was going to come of it. And boom, the next message was from Love Island ITV the following day, which is ironic, saying, "Hi, it's Liberty, Trey. I know that you casted for this. Would you like to have a go for Love Island?"
What did
And I
you
looked at
go
my
for? What
phone.
was the first show you tried to get on?
It was actually a show called Dating Naked. But that was all a part of the master plan. Me and the boys describe it as the chess move of the century. I've always wanted to go on Love Island. From when I was at university, they'd write Mr. Love Island on my pay slips. They'd always nickname him Mr. Love Island. So it was always in the pipeline mentally and visually. I always knew I could go on there. I'd see people out in the town. I'd think, oh, he's been on. I could do this. I could go on TV and have a laugh, have a great time, be myself. I'm sure I'd enjoy it. And it did happen for me. So I got approached by MTV. MTV approached me and said, would you like to audition for the show? It's called Dating Naked. It's a new concept, very exciting. And, it's a holiday abroad, essentially a Love Island, but naked, and it's only for a month.
And I don't
And I
think it's
said,
out yet, or it's just there's a German version, but I don't think the UK
yeah,
one ever went out or
German
something.
version, yeah. Yeah, it's not out yet. It's not out yet. It's all done. It's not done live like Love Island as such. It's all filmed within a month and then you fly back and it's done. But they approached me for this show. And already before I even went ahead with it, I went, I'm going to test this and see how far it goes, because I know that in the industry of entertainment, everyone's a subcontractor, everyone's a freelancer. They don't just work on one show for one company, they work on multiple shows for multiple different companies as a freelancer. So if you're good enough, Trey, to get as far as you can on this, you'll get your name out there, you'll get your face on people's minds when other better opportunities will come, like Love Island. So I sat there and played my chess move. I thought, I'm going to go along with this. I told the boys at work, I said, I'm not going on this show. I'm not going to give up my pride and dignity. I wouldn't do that for myself. I'm not going to sell my soul, so to speak. And that's no disrespect to anyone who goes on there, because that is it'll probably be an amazing show, and it takes a lot of bottle and guts to go on there and have a laugh and not take life seriously. And I knew that if I kept going and going with that, and testing my personality on camera, was I comfortable in front of the camera? Was I comfortable doing this? Could I articulate my story and my passions and what I'm like? Was it any good? Were I good enough to go to the end? And I actually did get to the end, and they invited me down to London and say, Trey, you're on the show. We want you to be a part of the show. You've been amazing. And I turned around and said, thank you ever so much, but I just don't think this is one for me. But if you do have any other opportunities, please come back, because I would love to do something like this, but I'm afraid this one isn't for me. So I got to the end, and that was my goal, to test to see if I could get on a show, a big show. It was a big show that lots of people were applying for. And I just rejected it because I knew it probably wasn't my calling. I believed in something better. I had that faith, so to speak, that something greater was coming. And like the old analogy with God, where he's got the massive teddy behind his back, and the girl's got the little teddy, and she daren't exchange the little teddy for the huge teddy which was behind, which is there's always something better in the pipeline, essentially. And I believed it. And a couple months down the line, that's when I got that message, and it was, Trey, I've reached out because I know you was casting for Dating Naked, and you didn't take up the opportunity. I think this is more aligned for you. This is more suitable. And I sort of smirked to say, if this pays off, it is the chess move of the century, and that's why I call it. It is what it is. It was just a scope of, you know what, this might lead to X, and if it does, then well played. And fortunately for me, it's paid off. It's paid off. I got on the show. I couldn't believe it.
Well, you are the king of chess, mate. You know how to make your moves. You made your moves in the villa. We saw you on Love Island. Absolutely
Yeah.
loved you. Great move that you did on the show. You then come off with Ellie. Final question for you, my friend. What's going on? Give me the tea. Give me all the gossip about you and Ellie post Love Island, because she's coming on next week. So I can ask her the same question. And right, Ellie, this is what Trey said. Has he lived up to his word?
Well, things are moving in a great direction. We went to 1874 Rooftop Bar, met up in Oxford Circus when I was down there a couple of days ago. We had a fantastic first day. We let us hair down, no cameras, no pressure, and we hit it off. House on fire, had a little cheeky kiss, had a cuddle, and then we had to shortly depart. And we said that we're going to meet up in London this next coming week. I think we're going to go on another date. I'm going to take her out for some nice dinner, treat her.
Where are you
And yes,
thinking? What's the restaurant vibe we're thinking?
like a smooth Italian James Bond type feel. Nice candle lit, bit of wine on ice, and yeah, nice bit of Italian food, I think.
Oh, amazing. And how are you finding it not having the cameras there and being able to get to know Ellie just as a person rather than just being, you're a castmate, I'm being forced to have this conversation, that you actually want to be having that conversation, and that sense of belonging to, yes, I'm a reality star, yes, I'm an influencer, but also I
Yeah,
do generally, as Trey, want to find that love, and I think I've found the right girl for that.
yeah, we can just focus on her, on us. Can focus on me and you. Nothing else matters. That's the type of feel that we had when we went to the rooftop bar. It was just me and her, and we could chill. We could enjoy each other's company. There's no pressure to have conversations about anything else but what we want to talk about. And we can speak about anything we want. We're not going to get censored. We can just be ourselves. And that is so underestimated in the villa. That is a big part of building relationships. So I'm excited to have another conversation with her. She's an amazing girl. She's stunning. She's articulate. She ticks all the boxes. I can't wait to go on another date with her. So see what happens, mate. But we're enjoying each other's company.
I'm
And
so,
we have
so
been calling. We have been constantly calling each other, which is nice.
Oh, amazing. My absolute thanks to Trey Norman. If you love Love Island like I do, there are over 100 Love Islanders in the library opening up about their mental health journeys. You've been watching or listening to Skinny Scope. If you enjoyed today's episode, click that subscribe button, leave a 5-star rating and a review, and let's keep spreading the word. It's okay to not be okay. As I said, Ellie's going to be on next week along with Chris Taylor, Antigone. Buxton's going to be coming on soon as well, plus loads of Love Islanders from 2024 telling their mental health journey. So if you love Love Island, you love hearing about people's mental health, this is the place to be. I'm Johnny Seifert. Thanks so much for watching or listening. Until next time, thank you and goodbye.